Thank you for choosing CTN. And now, it's time with Herman and Sharron.
I love you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us.
We're back again.
This is Sharron, right there, with 2 R's.
I think they know
There.
that.
There. I want you to take a look at the celebrity that I have. At least one part of the interview is a celebrity. Take a look at your screen, right there. Janine, look at Steve. Look. Now let's hear. Hey, Bud, crank it up a little bit.
There.
That's pretty good, isn't it? People stop Janine and think she's Celine, and she only wishes she could sing like she.
True.
But Rick Wolf, I said, can we do something? And that's what he was able to do for me.
That is really
Isn't that
neat.
neat? But she does, isn't it? I mean, she really does. I actually here in person on the set looks even more like it than on the, yeah.
Except your eyes are blue.
Yes.
And hers are brown, but
Yeah.
anyway.
And do you have any even close to her money? Just
Not even close. Not even close.
A lot closer to the voice.
yeah, that's great. Steve, good to have you.
Thank you.
We know Janine now. This is her latest book, right here. And there she is. There's Celine in the weeds. Okay, it's just.
Celine Kohler is her
Boy,
last name.
You need to send her a book.
That would be interesting.
You just
I'll do
just
it.
by mailing it to her, say, people, I don't necessarily, because you say in the book you don't think you look like her.
Right.
I don't think I do, but people are stopping me from time to time and think that I'm you. And so this is my latest book, and I thought I would send it to you. Hope you enjoy it.
I'm gonna
I
do
love you and your music. Boom.
Absolutely. True.
Because she could get saved out of this book. I mean, in the back, you
true.
give us salvation, for goodness sakes. So,
true.
what made you want to do this? And let me start with this. Full disclosure in this book. It's amazing how God takes the most unusual two and does supernatural things with them. So if you're watching and you say, he could never use me, keep watching, okay? Now, how did you begin this phenomenal life? You've been married 27
years.
27.
Past September.
27 years, and give me your hand because I'm a jewelry nut. Hey, Dave, get a shot of this. This is her 25th anniversary gift, and this is not cubic. He's coming in close. He is coming, there he goes. Look at that, look at that. Oh my goodness, that is.
Beautiful.
'Cause I'm a jewelry nut, in case you folks that are watching. My dad
Yes.
used to be in the jewelry business in Chicago, Illinois, and I never got over it, okay? So it was a fun thing for me to go into his little store where he kept all of these Patty Philippe watches and solid gold watches, and I would go in there and I would look at them or whatever, and he would let me do it, which was, and it probably hooked me on jewelry
Yes.
forever. But you guys started, take a look at this, with zero. I mean, like the two of them we were just
I
talking
think
about.
a lot of people, start that way.
I mean, and you got pregnant at 17,
17.
and that usually is the death knell.
Correct.
Am I right, Steve?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like you're going, okay, because you guys were planning college.
Yes.
Sure.
So now what do we do? And thank the Lord that you didn't choose abortion.
Right.
Yes.
Well, how did you first meet? I want to get back to how you met each other.
I met him the summer between 8th and 9th grade on a baseball field,
Wow.
and it's a funny story.
Was he athletic?
He was very
He
athletic.
looks like it.
And I went there to see this other guy play ball that I really liked. And this other guy introduced me to his best friend named Steve. And so as Steve went out to play ball the next inning, he was winking at me. So we got together a few months after that.
Wow. So, I mean, did you like
I liked him
Right
too.
off the bat.
Yeah, it was love at first sight, for sure. He can still tell you what I was wearing.
Wow.
That's great.
That is neat. Now, she was like a wow to you when you saw her?
I asked my mother that day, I said, how old do you think she is? She said, a lot older than you, Steve.
Really?
Yes.
But I wasn't.
So
I
she
was
wasn't.
young.
Yes.
Isn't so then you had the guts to ask her,
Yes.
and the rest is history.
The rest is wonderful history.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, having to rethink what you were going to do. No college. You had to go out and get a job,
Correct.
and now you're finishing high school.
Yes.
And the kids back then, what year was that?
1988.
I get it mixed up from the year we got married and the year I graduated. So yes, it was. We got married in 1988, and I had my whole senior year left to finish.
Okay,
so
so-
I graduated in '89.
Okay, so it was in the 80s.
Yes.
And the students knew you were pregnant, right?
Yes.
And so you weren't that popular.
Not anymore.
Isn't it amazing? Today you would be like, here comes Jeneen.
True.
Hey, tell us what happened, Jeneen.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how things change? Just amazing. So you graduated,
Yes.
became a mama, and you pursued the workforce.
Yes.
Been good to you?
Very good.
Yeah.
Worked hard.
I know it.
Yes.
Now, where did you get that work ethic?
So I think my folks separated and divorced when my sister and I were young. And my father worked 2 jobs. Worked at Sears. He was a Sears Roebuck, long-term Sears Roebuck
I
employee.
like when you say it's Sears Roebuck, because that
Yes.
tells you, that dates you right there.
Yes. And to provide for my sister and I, my sister was also very athletic, and to provide for shoes and some of those things, he would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to the local grocery store and work in the bakery. And so I think that showed my sister and I both very early that if you have goals and aspirations, you got to work for them. So,
Now, what are some of the things you've gone through? Because God has really prospered you.
yeah.
What are some of the, I mean, you went from,
So I started, Jeneen and I, so I think everyone should recognize mentors in their lives, and I've had a few very, very good people, obviously my dad and my mother both, but Harold Lilly, who a father-in-law who passed away a few years ago, was a big, had a big impact on my life, and years ago, Alan Redmond, Jeneen's uncle, he was working on a tunnel job in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And
on a what kind of job?
on a tunnel job, underground construction in tunnels, and I asked him for a job. I was making $5 an hour at a sign company, and
Oh, yeah.
and I asked him for a job, and through a little coercion, maybe from some family members, that it worked out that we moved there.
It's
and-
called networking.
Yes, it is today,
Today.
right? So it worked out that we were able to move to Milwaukee, and that kind of slingshot was a little bit of a slingshot to our opportunities, and then from there, just trying to evaluate opportunity. The old saying, if opportunity overcomes loyalty, character should be questioned, and so we've tried not to pursue every opportunity,
Yeah.
but there have been some that have presented themselves that have been very good, and we've done well.
You're a smart guy. So if you would have gone to college, I got a feeling, a master's degree and on the PhD.
Well, thank
Because you
you.
would have been a good student.
Well, thank you.
No question.
We have
But
been blessed.
But I guarantee you, the guys that you went to school with, even though you didn't get that college, they probably would like to ask you for a loan.
I don't know. There's some of them have done very well for
Yeah.
themselves too. They should be.
This book, what came over you that you would want to put down? Because you got to be vulnerable in these books.
Very.
You've got to just be, the Lord asked me to do it, so I can't hide anything. So that's what obviously this book starts with. What created that desire?
Well, someone asked me, they said, how many years did you study and do research to write that book?
Was that Herman that asked you that? No, I'm just kidding.
And I said, I didn't do any research. That's my life, 27 years, and you get to read it in 8 chapters, you know.
Wow.
So it was just in me because I've had to walk that road, and I've always known that I would write. I journal almost every day of my life since 1998.
Oh,
so
you're
I'm
one of
a
those
real
persons.
yeah. I'm a deep
Are you on
thinker.
Facebook too?
Yes, sir.
See? You just look like Facebook.
I try to be one of the genuine Facebookers,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
So,
And
So
it-
who is it you're trying to help when you write this book?
really, it's not gender specific. It's just anyone who
testimonies.
testimonies and people. What I run into quite a bit, Sharon, is people think good things happen for Jeneen, good things happen for Herman, good things happen, but good things don't happen for me.
That's
you
it.
know, and I have trusted the Lord for A, B, and C, and I haven't seen it come to pass yet. And you know, that's reserved for somebody else. And so that's really who I wrote the book for.
Okay.
Listening to Amy Grant on cassette.
That dates me as well.
That's true.
She's doing very well right now, too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I met my God.
Yeah.
Now, that's,
That's amazing.
you know, I know I love music, and I know songs mean a lot, but I can't get my head into, I'm listening to this well-known singer, and my heart is touched by the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yes, and I got saved right there in my living room.
Tell me about, how did that,
When I was 10 years old, I went to a revival with a friend because I didn't grow up in church. We didn't go to church. And I actually got saved that night. But because of the way my mother was raised, I went home and told her that I got saved, and she said, "You did not get saved, and I don't ever want to hear that again."
Wow.
Now, she's my best friend today, and I love her very much,
Yeah.
and she is saved, and so this is history I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
But so I went, you know, those 7 years still praying and desiring a relationship with the Lord, but no spiritual mentors in my life, no one to say, you know, to speak identity into my life and tell me who I was. And so there was a void there. And so there was a deficit, a spiritual deficit in my life. And that day, I think God just once again came back and said, you know what, you're mine. And I really did
yeah.
come and meet you when you were 10 years old.
Yeah, you know, He draws us.
Yes.
If He doesn't draw us, we don't. People forget that.
Yes.
It's like somebody thinks that they do it.
Yes.
We have nothing in that. We just respond to what He's doing, and that's what you
That's
did.
what happened.
Even though Amy Grant was singing, which was she's a great,
Phenomenal.
a great mentor for anybody. But
But
yet,
you know, a lot of
she spoke to
people,
you.
a lot of people don't believe that children can come to know the Lord at an early age like that. But I did too, and you knew right from that time when
really
you were
did.
10 that the Lord was calling you. Yeah.
I did. And I think, too, Herman, it was the words of the song, "It's gonna be all right." You know, I'm sitting there as a pregnant,
Wow,
newly married 17-year-old
my goodness.
we had the clothes on our back, and like I said, my parents were gracious enough to buy a home that had an apartment downstairs so that we could feel like we had our own place.
Yeah,
But still, there's all these uncertainties.
yeah.
Sure.
May 20th or May 2013, a Red Sea sort of crossroads. Share that story.
Our daughter was in nursing school, and she wasn't going to be able to graduate because of one class if she didn't make a phenomenal grade on that exit exam for that particular class. And you know, it was just, you know how you are about your children. You want the very best for them, and she'd worked so hard. And so, you know, the Lord told me to just consecrate that day to Him and pray for Elise. And at a specific time when she began her test, He wanted me to shout. And so I did that, and she made a 93.
Now, you went over that real quick. And the people listening going, and what did she just say?
I understand.
Say that again.
So my daughter had a test
okay.
that was going to be really
And
difficult.
she had to nail it.
She had to nail it.
Okay.
And I was praying for her, and the Lord led me to you know, fast and pray for her for a whole day. And then on the specific day that it was time for the exam to be taken, He said, "All I want you to do is shout and give me glory and give me praise." And I did that.
I mean, you shouted all day?
No, but just a big old shout right when she started the exam.
You're kind of weird.
Yes. And my mother was with me, and so we just shouted together, you know, much like the Jericho experience. You know, on the seventh day, you shout and the walls are going to come down.
I've got to warn you, when you get your copy of this book, there's a lot of that stuff in here.
Yes.
A lot of that stuff.
God is good.
Dreams, all kinds of stuff. Okay, continue. So what? So your daughter comes home.
She calls me because she's in another city.
Okay.
And she said, Mom, I made a 93 on the exam. So, and she's a phenomenal student. It was just a real difficult. But what happened with that, I've got to back up. About a month before that, she had the flu. And she was supposed to take an exam then. And she wasn't able to take that exam. So she had a couple of days more to prepare for that exam, which was this exam I'm talking about. She had extra time to prepare for that exam, and she made a good grade on it. So it was one of those things where the Lord said, you know what? She wouldn't have passed this exam back there, okay? So she got the flu and wasn't able to take that exam.
Now you actually say the Lord talks to you.
Yes.
Like
He
I'm
talks
talking.
to you
Like I'm talking to you.
Yes, He does.
He does. I'm just.
My sheep
I'm
know
just
my
taking,
voice.
I'm just taking this in, okay? Because now, I'm sure He says things to me. I've never heard His voice. But I mean, I respond and do things that I say, I know the Lord led me,
Yes.
okay? But I cannot say, I mean, like some of the guys on TV go, okay, Lord, I'll change that, what I just said. I'm going,
Yeah.
I'm doubting that. So, but your book talks about, and in fact, you even have one in the book where you said this one guy tried to tell you, you're not hearing,
Right.
okay? So you just stuck to what you believed.
Correct.
And you
That's
didn't
probably
move.
about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was actually a pastor of a church. He
Wow.
said, so God speaks to you. Well, when are you going to tell the rest of us what He's saying? So, but
He wanted you to write a book about just God speaking to you,
Yes, but
so
you
it'd be
know-
another Bible.
But the scripture says, my sheep know my voice, and I know them, and they follow me.
Yeah.
So really, that should be normal
Yeah.
for all of us.
But I hear that. I'm just kidding, folks. It's funny.
Yes.
To me anyway. But you say this in the book, do not follow the instruction of another's deliverance. Do not follow the instruction of another's deliverance. She's looking at me
Yes.
frowning. That's page 18 in your
Yes,
book.
yes.
What do you mean? Like somebody tells a story and somebody wants to attach to that?
Well, a lot of times, what God asked me to do for victory and freedom and deliverance is not what He's going to require of you.
Good point.
So you cannot,
Yeah.
just match your life and say, "Oh, I'm going to follow those steps and
Yeah.
do what she did." We need to be, listening to God and
Yeah.
let Him lead us, as you said,
Yeah.
into what would pertain to our particular situation.
Wow. You're type A personality.
Yes.
I can tell them as soon as I meet them in the green room. As soon as now, you say that you have to be careful that you don't hinder God's control. A type A personality, God may be back here and you're way out here.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you slow down? Because you are a go-getter,
Yes, I am.
and you're married to a go-getter, obviously.
Yes.
How does that work?
I think the key is to be led by the Spirit. And when you're led by the Spirit, then you just kind of let Him take the reins and you obey His direction. But you don't step out and do what you want to do. Now, we can't be robots. The Lord said the mind of a man plans his ways, but the Lord will direct his paths. So I make plans. Certainly, we make plans, but then we place those plans before the Lord and say, Lord, we are going to move forward in this direction unless you shut the door. And so a lot of times that's the way it happens too. It's just,
Have you ever heard the door actually slam?
I've seen the door actually slam. Haven't heard it, but I've seen it. And it just, nope, you're not going that way.
Here's an example. Jeneen, this is God talking to her.
Yes.
So my voice, but this is not God here. This is in the book, okay? Jeneen, you are welcome to travel to South Africa, but I will not be going with you.
Yes.
God said that.
That was just maybe 18 months ago or 2 years ago, yes. I had my dear mentor and friend visiting me from South Africa, and we were putting together plans for me to go over there and do a conference for the women pastors. And I was just so honored that he had invited me, and I was like, yes, I'll come, I'll do that. And then when he left, the Lord said, you didn't ask me if I wanted you to go. And I just felt this sickening, in my spirit.
That he was going to say no.
No, just that I had not even asked him.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
then I said, well, Lord, there's all these reasons I should go. I'm going to help this person and that person. And
So you told him all that?
yeah, and he said, well, you're welcome to go, but I won't be going with you. That's not an assignment I've asked you to do.
That will get your attention.
Yeah. So you know what?
Except, Jeneen, I got to tell you, Herman Bailey would go, I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't hear that.
You mean?
Somebody in this room or what? I didn't hear that. But I have felt that he commanded me to go visit somebody. I remember, and now I don't take to the hospital, and that person died the next day.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've got to do what God said. I mean, when, mine is like, I have a strong knowing, like
Yes.
Richard Dorch, who's in heaven now, he used to say, I have what is known as a knowing. I know that that's what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm supposed to go there.
Yeah.
So he called it a knowing.
Yeah.
And you call it God speaks to me.
Correct.
Yeah.
But it is very much the same
Yeah.
thing, because I have not heard his voice audibly either.
You say, walking by faith will always require you to be out of your mind.
That's true.
So you got to get the book. She's got a lot of out of her mind stuff here
Yes.
inside this book. Okay, what do you mean by that comment?
Well, in Romans 12:1, it says not to be conformed to the world, but to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that writer was speaking to Christians. So when we get saved, your spirit is born again and saved, but we still have this carnal mind that we need to bring up under subjection to God's voice and direction and truth. And so you can't be that same carnal thinker that you used to be and walk by faith, because faith principles work totally opposite from earthly principles.
Steve, have you seen this transformation in Jeneen? I mean, was it like years, days? Did you ever? This is full disclosure. Okay?
Sure.
This is a loaded question.
Did you, Steve? Did you ever go? Okay, I'm going to accept what you've just said, but I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
Did it? I mean, because a man and a woman, you're on two different levels here, and it's like your thinking is not Jeneen's thinking.
Right.
So did you ever get there and go, okay, I'm going to buy that God told you that, but let's go with it?
Certainly.
You have.
Yeah, many times. So we have our relationship is wonderful. We are.
That is neat.
We are spontaneous. We are best friends. We are a lot of things, and one of the things that we try not to be is divided.
Is what?
Is divided. And so through communication, sometimes maybe not as much as we'd like to have with travel and things, but through communication, that's how we make our decisions. And
You guys act like you just married. The way she looks at you, I mean, it is neat.
It feels-
27 years.
I 27 years, and feels like some days it started yesterday. Wow. So it's a good feeling. But certainly her personality is she's very bold, and she always has been.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And
Type A is that way.
Yeah, but there is if I think at times if people just stop and listen, and I've had to do that myself.
Yeah.
Just stop and listen, take a deep breath, and understand.
Wow.
There's truth. There's so much truth.
Let me go through some of the things that, because time is short. God's desire to take me to a new spiritual level, she talks about in the book. After every chapter, she has rhythm reflections, questions and answers after each chapter that you can actually review yourself. Because every book I read, you hope this happens so that you can say, did I get anything out of that chapter? And boom, she actually goes into Q&A, and you can actually write down, there's space to write down how that affected you. It's really a neat way to do it. She talks about chapter 7, the stumbling block of faith. know this, all faith will be tested.
Yes.
You've been tested. Can one pop in your mind right now?
Oh, God.
Either that or I have
Really?
to go to page 123.
Go to page 123. Help me out.
Okay. At
I'm tested quite
123.
often.
Let's see. Perseverance, there was an example here, and I didn't highlight it.
That's not good.
Trying times, knocking on your door, you may feel the urgency to step in and become part of the solution you are seeking. Sometimes you may even look to another person to provide the long-awaited answer.
Yeah. I think, am I speaking about perseverance there? I think
Yeah.
there's 3 stumbling blocks that God has taught me about faith. One of them is just pure unbelief. You know, Thomas said, I will not believe until I see the nail scars in his hands.
Yeah.
And so some people are just not going to believe
Yeah.
until they see that tangible
Yeah.
evidence. And that is totally opposite and works against faith. The second one is wavering faith. You know, you're in one day, I believe it one day, but then the next day I
Yeah.
just can't do it anymore. I'm
Yeah.
in, I'm out. Then the one I think that you're speaking about is a lack of perseverance. You know,
That's it.
where some of the things that God promises you, it may take 20 years to receive
There you
those
go.
things.
Yeah.
And so,
That's what I wanted to point out, is that we think it's
yes.
done.
And so people give up.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Can-
that's
can
what
I-
I've been tested on.
Can I ask you to do something for me? That camera right there is yours. Share your heart with somebody that needs to know that relationship that you found when Amy Grant was singing. Share that.
You know, God loves you. You're His son, you're His daughter. He has a great calling on your life and a great love for you, and it doesn't matter the mistakes that you've made. He can overlook those mistakes. He really just wants to be your companion. You know, He would come down in the cool of the day with Adam and Eve just to speak with them. He really just wants to be your friend. He really wants an intimate, personal relationship with you. And you know, you just need to set aside those things that are holding you back, those things that make you feel unworthy, because God is for you, He loves you, and He wants a relationship with you no matter what. And so I just encourage you today to seek that relationship with Jesus through His Word, through intimacy with Him, and just He's got great things for you. So I want you to be able to walk in all of those things that He has for you, because that's really what the blessed life's all about.
Absolutely.
He's waiting for you to make that decision. That's why you heard this program. God bless you in your decision. Bye.
Thank you for watching It's Time. If you have recently made a decision for Christ, Herman and Sharron would like to hear from you.